What's happening, y'all? I'm your host, Richard Burns. You're here at the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. Put up some disclaimers here before I continue. Yeah, that was the most professional ever. Ever. However, y'alls, let's set this thing up so that you can come right in. Make sure everything's in operational order. Yeah, let's pin that bad boy so you can come right in. And let me put up my. There it is. You want to join me in Instagram? You could join me at XL_Rooster at Instagram. Real estate. Or hey, I got a bunch of people in here already. Yo, Brandon. Oh, okay. Well, that'd be awesome. So long as everybody remembers, nothing that I say here is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Gotta cover my butt. You know how that is. Take a swig of this. Let me take a swig of this. Real estate or securities. Maybe some people have not heard or have the association of the word securities with regards to investing. Securities are stocks. Okay? It's another term. The financial industry is loaded with a combination of all kinds of crazy terms. So if you hear the term securities on some financial program, outlet, whatever, they're talking about stocks. Brandon, what's going on, man? Man.
Hey, hello, Mr. Burns. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty
Can
good.
you hear me?
Doing pretty good.
Good,
Loud and
good,
clear.
good, good. I literally was just getting in my car and I'm pulling out of the parking lot of my work, and I saw you were
Oh,
on, and I
sweet.
was thinking about it. I
Just
was thinking about it today because I had a few questions about finance and whatnot, and I said to myself, I said, I happen to know somebody.
yeah, you do.
So,
His name is Richard Burns.
Mr. Burns. So,
Mr.
anyways,
Burns.
my question is, do you have any experience with trust funds, things like that, or do you know about them, or can you explain them in detail for
Well,
basically simplified,
yeah, I'll try to simplify it. Oh my
please?
goodness, I can't believe this. My battery is low. Are you kidding? No, you're kidding, right? Hang on 1 second. Give me 1 second. And let me know once
Not
I
a
plug
problem,
in
sir.
if this thing actually Monday.
I'm driving, so I cannot see comments or anything. So you'll have to vocalize any comments or questions, especially directed towards me.
Can you hear me okay, Brandon?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so here we go, right? So
Uh-huh.
so trusts. Did you say a trust fund?
No, it's
Well,
a
I'm going to
trust
tell you what a trust
account.
is. Right.
Yeah,
A trust is
explain the difference, please. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's a layer of protection for your assets. Basically, that's basically what it is.
Mm,
It's also a vehicle by which you can transfer your assets to your kids without having the government intervene, without having the courts intervene.
mm-hmm.
But it's also a layer of protection. So, in the event that there's some frivolous lawsuit, some nonsense, it'll protect you against that.
Okay.
Help protect you. Let me say help. By the way, this is not financial advice, but it will help protect you. It's
Gotcha.
one of many layers of protection that you can use to protect your wealth.
Okay. Maybe if I explain the situation that I'm in, maybe you can help um, clarify it a little bit further.
Sure.
All right. I've got a friend. He's quadriplegic. He's disabled,
Okay.
and he's got a property he owns. His parents passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Being that he's disabled, he's not allowed to have any income. Otherwise, he loses all help from the government, which basically is the only
Basically
thing that
sucks.
can. Yeah, he can't go to the bathroom. He can't. He needs a nurse constantly um, to help him do his day-to-day things. You know, his normal. Let me rephrase that. His morning routines. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, get dressed. You know, take a shower. Use the bathroom. So he's got this trust fund set up, and he inherited his parents' house last year.
Yep.
Now he can't get any income, and if he starts collecting rent from that house, that property, they're gonna just cancel his services, which are more important to him than anything else. You know.
Sounds ridiculous, but
So
yeah, I understand.
no, that's unfortunately how it works. And he created a trust fund, and he asked me to be the executor of
He
that.
did.
But I
He
don't
did.
know. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah.
He asked you to. He asked. Okay, so that got a little
Which I
complicated
did.
there. He's gonna have to
I
he's
signed
gonna have
it.
to go pay.
I signed. Go
He's
ahead.
gonna have to pay an attorney a visit. Okay, because how did he get? I assume he's getting SSDI, Social Security Disability.
Yes.
Okay. And I imagine that he discovered that he couldn't make any income when he
Without losing
applied
it.
for it. Am I right?
Yeah, no, he knows he can't make any income without losing his, yeah.
So you see that little phrase is key. So he can't make income, okay? But he already
Correct.
has he already has cash, right?
Hmm. No, he doesn't have a lot of cash.
So he's gonna have to. He doesn't have a lot of cash. You said, didn't he get an inheritance?
The inheritance was in the form of a property, which he rents out, but all of the income from that goes to maintaining everything. You know, he's not making any profit from it, but he's not. I'm trying to figure out a way. I don't know. His brother, his all of his immediate family have died. His brother, which was a great, um, uh, he had it all figured out. He passed away from COVID. He was one of those anti-vaxxers. Um, he passed away last summer.
Okay.
It's kind of stuck me to the point where he didn't have anybody that he trusted. So he asked me, and I was like, yeah, I'll help you any way I can, buddy. Yeah, I'll be the executive because he can't. I guess he can't be in charge of it. So I don't know what I'm
The
doing
executor.
with it. Basically, yeah.
Well, I strongly recommend you guys go visit an attorney that specializes in disability and trust,
Yeah.
because I don't know the laws regarding disability, and that's an important thing to know
Yeah.
before you set up the trust.
Well, the trust is set up, but my lawyer, my tax lawyer, just said if there's any income coming into it, you've got to be able to prove where it comes from. So it's set up. It's just it hasn't been nothing's been deposited in it or used. It hasn't been used.
Okay, so
You know,
the property is his, but the trust is under whose name?
the trust is for him. I'm just the executor of it. Does that make sense?
All right, so the tax attorney told you about. Yeah, the tax attorney told you about
My
the need
personal
to be
tax
able to.
attorney. Yeah.
Okay, so so from what I heard you say, your personal tax attorney just informed you about needing proof to show where this money is coming from,
Correct.
because there are tax implications for income generated through a trust. But now, what about the laws regarding your relationship with this person as the executor to his trust, and the fact, how does that work?
I have no idea. That's why I'm talking to you.
Do you hear? No, well, that's the type of thing that you're gonna have to sit down with an attorney about.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. I was in the financial world, but I've been away from the financial
Uh
world for
huh.
so long that there have been a lot of changes. There have been a lot of changes in regulations and laws regarding the financial industry. So I don't have
Yeah.
anything up to
Well, it
date
changes
on
on a
that.
freaking monthly
And
basis.
yeah, so the best bet is to have somebody who's on top of that, which is an attorney.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But definitely, before you sign any more papers, definitely sit down with an attorney, because there
Yeah.
there are a lot of things. For example, one state uh, one state might execute something regarding the transfer of funds one way, whereas another state might do it in a different way or allow for a different way. So, what state does he live in?
We're in Florida.
Okay, so you're gonna need somebody who's up on Florida law
Florida laws. Yeah.
regarding the trust.
I
Yeah,
figured that was the case. I just, I guess more of it was just more of a basic question of what actually is a. Could you explain exactly what a trust fund is? Because I kinda know, but I'm I'm not 100%. You know,
a, yeah. A
basically, my
trust
friend asked me
is
to.
a particular a trust is a particular type of entity. Like an LLC is a particular type of entity.
Yeah.
Uh, like a corporation is a particular type of entity. That's a trust would be an umbrella where you can put other entities under it as an extra layer of protection. It creates a veil, and it becomes
Yeah.
more difficult for attorneys to pierce the veil to get to an individual.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I guess that
basically, that's
helps
what a
out a
trust
little
is.
bit. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
explaining it. Explaining. Let me rephrase that. Thank you so much for explaining it in simple terms for me. You know.
Yeah, people from the world of finance can get carried away, and they could be more concerned with showing off and using terminology that winds up confusing people more than what's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just at the
Going back,
bank, I generally understood what was going on, and they basically said that I was going to be responsible, and that's about the most that they explained to me. Um,
yeah, you were going to
and then when I talked to,
run and operate the.
yeah, and then I didn't have anything. Then when I went to go do my taxes, I asked my tax attorney about it, and he was like, "Oh, this is a thing. You really, if you want to come in and talk to me about it, we need to set something up because this is a thing." And I
Exactly.
was
See
like,
what I mean?
"Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly."
that's what I mean.
So,
There's some regulations that you have to be aware of before you sign off on that thing, because
yeah.
you
Well,
you know
it's been active for a
you,
year, but he hasn't put any money into it. And the lawyer, once he told me, he said, just don't put any money into it until you talk with me, basically. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah, okay, no problem. So we haven't,
yeah.
but I was just trying to help a friend out, and you know,
No, that's
I,
understandable.
I did not realize what I was getting into, yeah, basically. So
No, that happens, and it happens
yeah,
often. Sometimes people get on social media, and you have all these people that are encouraging their listeners to do things, and they're not giving them the full picture. They're giving them the shortcut, and they can wind up getting themselves in trouble for taking the shortcut. There are plenty of people out
oh,
here that, uh huh,
no, I got an example.
uh huh,
The free money glitch from the ATM machines. You remember that, right?
mm-hmm.
You write a check for $100,000 and you deposit it, and it's in your account. You can go
You
hit the
withdraw it right
ATM and you
away.
can withdraw. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean you can't withdraw at all. There's a limit on the ATM. It's like $300 a
Yeah,
day,
but you,
$500 a day, depending on the account. But that's still money that.
whatever it was, there were so many people that got basically it's check fraud, and yeah, a lot of people learned their lesson the hard way from YouTubers saying, "Hey, look at this money glitch," you know.
Yeah. But it entices people because of their greed.
Hmm.
People get greedy and they want to go ahead and do things that you get them jammed up later.
Yeah.
So I put up this thing today. The title is Real Estate or Securities? Which do I prefer? So how much involvement have you had with real estate?
More than I want to, more than I want to deal with, or have to have
Okay.
dealt with in a lifetime. You know. No, I mean I'm not talking professionally. Just buying a house and just renting, dealing with that. You know.
So you rented out some property?
No, 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 no. I rented from. I rented before I bought my house, but the whole
Okay.
process, the whole thing was a nightmare. They told me one price, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, we were wrong with the taxes. You got to come up with $2,000 more. It was just
Oh,
it was a pain in the ass to buy our house. You know.
that's interesting because I prefer stocks over real estate all day, every day. And I'll get into
Yeah.
that, but I want to hear more about your story because I want to go ahead and add with some stories of my own. But I want to hear
Oh,
about your
wonderful.
situation. You started out renting?
Yeah. Well, when me and my wife got together, even before we were married, you know, we were renting a place. You know,
Mm-hmm.
renting, and then we my parents were going to sell their house, and I told my mother. She was like, "Listen, I'm really sorry. We're going to move an hour and a half away in a different city." We had all of us, my brother and me, had young grandchildren at the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was about 4 years ago, I'm guessing. I mean, my youngest is now 11, so but at the time they were still impressionable by grandma, you know, and grandpa.
Okay.
So, um, yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. And I'm trying to focus on the road. So, anyways, they said they were gonna sell the house. I said I have never checked my credit before, Mom, but let me see if I could buy the house. And turned out that my credit was just under, and my boss's wife is a real estate agent. Hooked me up with somebody else, got my credit score up to where we could afford it, you know.
Okay.
And when I
What
started,
year was that?
started, um, during COVID.
Okay, so
Actually,
it
during
wasn't
COVID.
around 2008, 2009. Okay, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I'm talking 4 years ago when I bought my house. So, yeah, it was. No, but they had refinanced the house at that time. So before the bubble hit, you talk about the real estate bubble.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. No, they refinanced it just before the bubble hit, and they lost it. Well, technically they lost a lot, but over the years, I mean, fast forward to 2025, you know, it's now the mortgage is less than what the house is worth. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I basically took over their mortgage payment, which was upside down at the time, you know. Um,
Okay.
but they gave me the equity of the house. Um, so we just basically slid in for the same amount that we were renting at. However, in the 2 years after first moving in, the taxes increased by 30%. The insurance increased by 30%
That's very
each year.
interesting because that's one of the points that I wanted to make. Yep, go ahead. Keep going.
No, that's it. That's it. So when I started off, the rental that we were paying for was $1,700 a month, and our mortgage we got to $1,800 a month, and we said, all right, well we can suck it up a little bit to have our own house, and we did. Then it became 2,000. Now it's 2,400. And that's less than
Mm-hmm.
three. That's 3 years. That's 3 years later.
3 years later, now it's
That's our mortgage.
$2,400 a month.
Correct.
Okay, so real estate versus stocks. So let me get into it then.
Yeah.
And some of the points that you made out were crucial, and the reason why my preference is the stock market as opposed to real estate. There's talk about, I tried looking for it briefly before I came on and started the live, but I was checking to see exactly how many working class, middle class people had become wealthy through real estate. Now, becoming wealthy, that's subjective.
That's a general term. Yeah.
It's a general term, it's subjective. So how would you define being wealthy would make a big difference as to whether or not you were able to accomplish that through real estate or stocks. Now,
Yeah.
one of the big things that I love about the stock market is the liquidity. Liquidity is superior in the stock market than it is in real estate. How long did it take you to acquire that house that you're paying for right now? The process, how long was the process? Did it take seconds?
Oh no, it took a couple months. Right.
A couple of
Yeah, it
months.
took a couple months.
So if I wanted to go on whatever app I have or whatever platform I use on my laptop, well, I could tell you right now, because I timed it, if I wanted to buy stock, from the time it takes me to reach over to my phone, grab it, get past whatever security, go to the app, open up the app, get past the security for the app, find the stock that I want, and purchase the stock that I want. It took me a total of 47 seconds.
Yeah.
47 seconds. Let's say I wanted to buy the house, or let's say you were going to pay cash for your house, all of it, one shot deal. How long would it take for you to be able to do that?
I'm assuming the same. I'm assuming a little bit less
Okay.
time than it took
Take a
me to
wild guess.
finance it.
Okay, so
I'm
part
gonna
of that
say a
time
month
was
and a half.
finance. Okay,
A month and a half.
Because you had to do the
I'm guessing.
closing,
I
you
had
had to
no
do a whole
idea.
bunch of stuff. Okay, let's say I wanted to purchase a house. The first thing I would have to do myself, from my experience, is that I would want an inspector, and not a cheap one either.
But that's required in Florida.
Okay, I would want a thorough inspection because there are different levels of inspections, right? I don't know if Florida has only one level of inspection or not, but where I've purchased property, they have several levels of inspections, and I would personally pay for the top inspector. Now,
I agree.
in order for me to inspect it, in order for me to get an inspector, I would either have to go online or call them directly. If they don't answer the phone, I leave a message. I don't know how much time it'll take from the time he gets his message and calls me back. I don't know. That's up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be a few minutes, could be a couple of hours, it could be a couple of days, it could be a couple of weeks. I don't know. So that's a
Could be a
big
week.
question
Yeah.
mark right
Exactly.
there. That's a big
Yeah.
question mark right there. So how long is this inspection going to take? Is it going to take a whole day? Is there an area that he needs to access that he wasn't able to access because whoever it
You
was,
weren't
the real
home at the
estate
time.
agent, whoever else was there, was
Yeah.
unprepared for that level of inspection? Maybe they needed to get down into the cellar. Maybe they needed to get to access somewhere else, so that
I'm with you.
the inspection might have to continue, and because it's getting broken up between days. Is he coming back the next day? Is he coming back the next week to finish it off? I don't know. It all depends on the circumstances. So far, with the little bit that I'm mentioning, I'm not even sitting at the table with my offer, or I'm not even sitting at the table with the money ready or with the wire transfer ready. I'm not even there yet. Okay, I'm not even there yet. And this could be days already
Yeah.
that have gone by. When let's say I can get all that done within a couple of days, then I have to make an arrangement with my lawyer, their lawyer. We have to we got to settle on a day where we can get together, get this thing done, get all the paperwork filled out, get the closing going, all that good stuff. How long it takes? Question mark. Let's say we can get this whole thing done in a week's time. 1 week. 1 week, the money's already transferred. The deed is in my name. Everything's all said and done. 1 week.
Uh-huh.
Here's a $350,000 house. I'm paying for it cash. One-shot deal. The lawyers get whatever they get. The homeowners get whatever they get. Everything is done. Paperwork is done. Paperwork is filed. All that good stuff. 1 week, let's say. That's $350,000 that came out of my account, and it took a week for that to happen. That's probably the best case scenario. Maybe not even. I don't know.
Probably around 2. Let's just say 2.
Well, let's say I wanted to take $350,000 and buy a stock.
Yeah.
Remember, it took me 47 seconds to grab my phone and do all that other stuff. That's 47 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
To find the stock to type in the ticker symbol for the stock, place the order. Depending on the price that I put in, I might get filled in 1 second, or it might take a few more seconds. But the bottom line is that dealing with stocks is far more liquid than dealing with real estate. That's one thing I love.
Yeah.
Absolutely love about that. Another thing, very important thing that you mentioned, right? And this is true for real estate. Now, up in the Northeast where I had property, every January, here comes the town inspector. Here comes the town inspector, and they're gonna evaluate the price on that home. If you happen to have your home in a location where there's been a lot of purchasing, driving the price of the homes higher in your area, what's going to go up? Go ahead, say it, Brandon.
No, it's going to go up. Your property is going to go up.
What? Yeah, and what else is going to go up along with your property? Along with the property value, what else is going to go up? Yeah, exactly.
Taxes. Your taxes and your insurance.
And that's one of the things that's wrapped up in your escrow, right? So when you have,
I've had to redo my escrow twice now.
Can you hear me? I'm switching over from Bluetooth.
Yeah, I can hear you. So when you have, I can hear you. So when you have your house reevaluated and it increases in value, the property taxes are going to go up right along with it. Now, when the bank sends you your bill your monthly bill, you're going to be paying what's called an escrow account, which has whatever monthly payment you have for the bank, your insurance is wrapped up in there, and your property taxes are wrapped up in there. So yeah, after a while, you might start off with a payment just like you did. You started off with a payment of about $1,800.
Yep.
And how much time did it take for it to get to where it is now, which is $2,400?
3 years.
How much time? In 3 years.
3 years. Almost $600 more a month.
None of that is happening with your stocks. None of that.
Yeah.
If you purchase stock today, whether the price goes up or down, you're not paying taxes on the fluctuation of the price of your stock. Now, there are tax implications after you sell it.
Down to business.
If you
listen, Sim, I'd love them.
if you
Sorry,
if
hang
you
on, I'm
sell
having
your
trouble
stock
hearing you. I'm trying to
Okay.
get it on my
on your radio,
there we go.
got me? You got me?
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm sorry.
How about now? Keep talking. Let me know.
Yeah, keep talking. I can barely hear you.
All right, so I'll keep talking.
Go ahead. I can rewind it. I'll rewatch the video.
There are tax implications when you sell your stock. If you're selling it at a profit, there's a tax implication, and it depends on whether or not you sold it after a year of you purchasing it or before reaching a year of you purchasing it. There are tax implications for that. You're going to pay greater taxes if you sell it under a year. You're going to pay less taxes if you pay after a year. And on dividends that you accumulate on the stock, depending on when you bought the stock, that's paying you the dividend at that time. So if you bought stocks 5 years ago and the stock that you bought 5 years ago are generating dividends, you're not going to be paying at the same rate as some stock that you bought recently within the past 60 days. It's a different rate. It's a lower rate when you've held it on for longer than 60 days after the X date that you purchased it, as opposed to, and I don't want to make this thing too complicated. Bottom line is this: if you purchase stock and you make a profit and you sell it after a year, you're going to pay long-term capital gains. If you sell it in under a year, you're going to pay short-term capital gains. Short-term capital
What's the difference
gains,
between long-term and short-term?
Short-term capital gains is a higher tax rate. Long-term capital gains is a lower tax rate. Okay?
By like a substantial amount, or?
Yeah, it is a substantial amount. Short-term capital gains, you're going to pay taxes on the profits that you make on short-term capital gains, depending on what rate you pay your income at. So if you're in the 28% bracket, you'll be paying 28%. If you're in the 30% bracket, you'll be paying 30%. So
my Bluetooth in my car, I pretty much lost sound with you. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to remedy it, but I think because I got to connect to the Bluetooth, I don't know, because this is
I can hear you right now. I can hear you clearly.
I can hear you too, but I got to put my speaker way up against my ear.
Right. Okay. So going back to what I was saying, short-term capital gains.
But I'll definitely replay the video so I can hear it. Thank you.
Okay, you're going to be paying at your current income tax level. Long-term capital gains, you'll be paying anywhere between 15% and 20%. So it could be a big difference. And the time, and you'll only pay long-term capital gains. I'll put you on mute for a second. You'll only be paying long-term capital gains after you sell your stock. So you can hold on to that stock for 100 years, and it's not until you sell it that you have to pay the taxes. Good. How are you? Oh no, I can't. I ain't got no cash. No, I bet. Yep, no problem. Somebody trying to sell me a ring, a gold looking ring, because there's no way for me to tell if it's gold or not. Typical hustle out here at the truck stops. So that's another advantage that I like about stocks as opposed to real estate, trying to make it in real estate. There are a lot of complications associated with real estate, hidden stuff associated with real estate. Hey, now I got you on two different. Let me remove you from the other one.
But yeah, let me figure out.
All right. Hey, hello, D. Hi, D. So going back to what I was saying, why I prefer stocks over real estate. So I already mentioned liquidity, how as far as liquidity is concerned, stock purchasing and stock selling are superior than real estate, by far superior. You can purchase or sell stock much faster than real estate. Much faster than real estate. And another thing, as we mentioned, as your property value increases, so does your tax burden on your real estate property. Now, you can, let's say your house goes up in value from 350, and 8 years later, it goes from 350,000 to $1 million. Well, you're now a millionaire. Now, if the stock goes up, if you invested 350,000 in stocks and it goes up to $1 million, you're now a millionaire. What's the difference? If I wanted to convert my assets into cash, the stock has the real estate beat, and beat by a lot. Because like I said, if I needed to sell $1 million worth of stocks, all I have to do is put in the order and it's done. It could be done within seconds, depending on the price that I settle for. So let's say that the price of the stock that I want to settle for, let's say the stock is going for $50 a share, and I try to sell it for $50.50 a share. It may not sell right away. It may not sell at all. I might have to play with the numbers, maybe bring it down a penny at a time. So from $50 and 50 cents to $50.49, then $50.48, little by little, until I hit a price that I can get it sold at. It might be at the $50 mark, but whatever the case is, all that fooling around, changing the price, that could take what? Seconds or a minute, as opposed to trying to sell my property to convert it into cash. That could take months, weeks, that could take years in some cases. So as far as liquidity is concerned, stocks are superior. There's hands down superior. If you're in a jam, if you find yourself in a situation where you need cash right away, it's going to be very hard for you to sell that real estate property and get cash right away. Unless you want to go through a bank and do some kind of reverse loan or whatever the case is, but it doesn't compare. It does not compare. With stocks, it's immediate. Now, what you might encounter is waiting for a settlement period, what they call a settlement period after you sell your stock. Might take 3 to 5 business days for that thing to settle, but it's already been converted to cash. Now, another thing, with credible corporations, yes, you might encounter a loss, but that would depend on how you manage your own portfolio. With diversification, you have a far more secure account. And don't forget, this is not financial advice, but you will have better protection, provided that, cool, D, cool. You'll have better protection against a loss, against a total loss on your investment. Now, again, okay, that's perfect. That's perfect, D. Now, again,
Hi, I just wanted to shout out to DeAndre. Say hey.
Shout out to you, D, from Brandon. So, again, nobody's going to go to your portfolio to do an inspection like they will your property. So nobody from the town is going to go into your investment account to check the value of your portfolio. Whereas in real estate, somebody from the town is going to come and inspect your home and check the value of your home. And if it has increased, then your property tax is going to increase. That's not what happens with your stocks. Nobody's coming to your portfolio to say, hey, wait a minute. Your portfolio was worth $300,000 one day. That was 2 years ago, or last year was $300,000, and now this year it's $400,000, and nothing.
Yeah.
First,
I got you 100%.
Yeah. So first of all, nobody's doing that. Second, it's meaningless until you sell your shares. Another thing is, and here's a nightmare scenario. Nobody comes in contact with my portfolio except me or the brokerage firm that I have my portfolio in.
Yeah.
Which they don't step in to do nothing unless it's unless they have to take care of a debt that you
or you
take
get
care
them
of a debt.
authorization to. Yeah.
Well, if you do a short sale and it has to get covered, then they'll intervene. But other than that, that's just an example. And other than that, nobody's touching your account except you.
Yeah.
Whereas on your property, here's a nightmare scenario. You have your aunt and uncle come over with your cousin. Your cousin's 24 years old. I don't know how it is in Florida, but where I'm at, somebody comes over, like my aunt and my uncle, my cousin wants to stay over. He says, hey, listen, I really like it over here. Can I stay here with you? I'm going to look for an apartment and then I'm out. All right, cool. So my aunt and uncle leave. They leave my cousin behind. My cousin's been staying with me. The conversation is eventually going to come up. That conversation has to do with kicking up some cash while they're staying there.
Yeah.
Okay. Kicking out some cash while we're staying there. All right, fine. He's been staying there a week. Oh, I don't have any cash. Well, dude, you're going to have to do something because you can't be here consuming and
Please
then one
help
day
out
he
around
just
the
says,
house.
oh,
Do something. Do work around the house. Something. You know.
no, but he's busy. He's out doing stuff. Then you discover that the stuff that he's doing is just chasing girls and hanging out. So the conversation has to take place. Listen,
Yeah.
this isn't working out like this. Either you switch it up. Who's Denmark Andy? Do you know? Do you know Denmark Andy?
I don't. Not familiar
Okay.
with them.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. So now you have a conversation with your cousin. Listen, this isn't going to work out like this. You got to produce. Okay, so your cousin gives you the middle finger, says, listen, man, don't bother me. I'm chilling out. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just doing my thing. What do you mean you're just doing your thing? Nah, that you can't just live here and not produce, not do anything. You just hang out. That's counterproductive. Sorry, but you're going to have to leave. He says, I ain't leaving. Yes, you are. I'm going to call the cops. So you call the cops, and the cops come over and they ask, so how long you been here, cousin? So I've been here 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. Okay. Now he turns around to you and says, listen, can't do it.
It's now become a civil matter.
It's become a civil
It's
matter.
now become a civil matter. You're gonna have to take it up with the courts. No, I had a friend down and out, and I let him stay with me, and he tried to pull that shit with me. Well, you can't kick me out, this and that. And then when I called the cops about it, it was like if you let him stay for 1 week, or you let him stay overnight, one night, and bring his things in, that's it. Now it's a civil matter. It's not a trespassing.
Okay,
matter.
so where I'm at is 3 days, and if you receive mail, it's a wrap. It's a civil matter.
Yep.
So now you got to go to court. Now you got to go to court and start an eviction.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? When is that going to happen with your investment account? Never. That's not a thing.
I got an interesting story about how I got rid of them. Though. When you're done.
Okay. When I'm done, then. So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's not happening with your investment account. You're not inviting guests into your investment account.
Yeah.
People are not telling you, hey, I'm leaving your investment account. Cops are not being called because somebody's in your investment account. You're not going to court to start off an eviction for somebody not leaving your investment account.
Yeah. And it's even more of a nightmare if you're investing in real estate as a rental. I'm sure, because you got to deal with this constantly.
I haven't even touched upon that yet. And yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. The amount of money that you can wind up losing with an investment account is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as I'm concerned, even with all these real estate gurus that you see on social media and all that other stuff, because of my experience with real estate, I know not to mess with that. And I believe that owning stock is far superior than owning real estate. So if
See,
you're middle
I'm kind
class,
of.
working class, and you want to accumulate wealth, I would choose the stock market over real estate.
I agree with you on that statement exactly how you said it. However, if you've got a shit ton of money, you can make a lot of money in real estate. I'm talking about if you're a millionaire and you've got
That's
millions
an
of dollars.
excellent point. That's an excellent point. So we need to talk about the barriers for entry. So if you want success in the real estate market, yes, you're going to need a hell of a lot more money than getting a portfolio started with stocks. You can start a portfolio with $1.
I lost you. There you
You
are.
can
You're
start a
back.
portfolio. You can start a portfolio with $1.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to purchase a home for $1, but what are the guidelines? And what are the expectations? Are you expected to come up with a lot of money real quick for repairs and all that other stuff?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking everybody on the channel.
Well, when you buy a
Think
house,
about that.
you generally buy it as is, and if it's got a faulty roof, you got to pay for it. If they're going to re-drill if you're on a well, for instance, in which my house runs off of right now, if they run city water through, you're required to hook up to it, which is more money you got to pay in your pocket because they only hook it up to the curb. You
How
got to
much
pay for
time?
it to hook up here.
Let's say if you had to do that, you just finished purchasing the home. How much time do they give you for you to get that done?
I don't know. It happened with my buddy Phoenix, actually the same one that I've got the trust fund for. He was living on a well in the city of Lake Worth, through a main water line through, and they said, well, now all of a sudden it's unsanitary for you to live on a septic system, and you got to hook up to the thing, and if you don't, you're going to get fined X amount
1 second.
per day.
1 second. 1 second. Let me stop you right there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just mention right now that there was a change? Did you mention just now that it went from septic to something else?
Septic to city to public water.
And that change came about after the house was purchased or before the house was purchased?
After.
And okay, so from my experience, the city or the state or the town, whatever the case is, quite often every 2-3 years, regulations are changed. So now, if whatever you got going on in your house is outdated, you're going to have to get it updated, and that ain't free. See, none of that stuff happens with your stock account. None of that stuff. You purchase $100,000 worth of share, and it's either a growth stock where the years go by and the value of that stock increases so that in the future you could sell it for a profit, or it's an income generating stock because it pays dividends. So the price of the stock may not move up and down very much, but you're getting a paycheck every 3 months.
Yeah.
No headaches, No headaches like with property.
Yeah. No, property
You
is a whole headache on itself.
Here's a nightmare scenario. You invite somebody to your property. They bring a friend. The friend slips in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Everybody goes over there. Hey, we heard a thud. Are you okay? No, I'm fine. Okay, they're fine. 2 weeks later, you get a letter in the mail from an attorney. What the hell is this? That guy that fell in your bathroom, he's suing you.
Yeah.
If I were to open up my phone and show you my brokerage account, you gonna sue me because you saw my brokerage account?
Yeah.
Ain't happening.
I got you 100%, man. When I bought this property, it wasn't for an investment. It was just for a place to live.
That's understandable.
To try to build equity, considering that we were renting in Florida. The rent is so freaking high, you know. That if we had the opportunity to buy a beautiful house for the same thing that we're renting I was living in a little 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom duplex, you know. I could hear the neighbors, what they were doing. They could hear me, you know.
Who's responsible for maintenance?
That's the thing. The landlord was.
That's out of your. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you're in your own home, you're responsible. And if you live within a homeowners association,
thank God I don't.
Have you heard nightmare stories about that?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard nightmare stories about that.
I got selected for jury duty for a case about homeowners, people versus homeowners. I didn't get selected for the actual trial, but yeah, no, that was 2 months ago. I was in court listening to it. Someone tripped over the sidewalk or something.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So owning real estate, of course, that's the American dream. But that dream can easily become a nightmare. Easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've seen my studio, right? I've shown you my studio. You remember me giving you a tour of that? That's all under fucking construction right now. My master bedroom is just completely gutted out, and it's from an event that happened, and it took me 2 years battling the insurance company because it was during COVID, and they knew they didn't have to do shit because all the courts were closed, so they just were like, we're not gonna do nothing for a little bit. Sue us. Yeah, sue us. Go ahead. And that's what I did. That's what I ended up having to do. And, they settled. If I was a little old lady that was depending on the settlement to repair everything, it wouldn't have happened. But the fact that I actually can do a lot of the work myself, it's manageable, you know?
I understand. Look, I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm making a comparative analysis between owning real estate and owning stock. And my preference is stock.
I agree with you 100% on as far as the investment options are. Do you own your own house up there?
I used to own multiple properties. I used to own a few multifamily properties. I was the landlord. Yeah. And that was a nightmare.
Well, I've got a little side a little side thing I could probably rent out to somebody to live in. And my wife's like, no, I don't want to deal with it. Because when I first got married with her, I said, we're going to buy a duplex. I'm going to live in half of it and we'll rent the other half out and they'll pay for our mortgage. That was my idea, you know? And she said,
that's a lot of people's idea. And your wife said what?
I don't have to deal with a headache.
It could be a tremendous
Every
headache.
time.
I've had so many incidences with renters that I really have no desire whatsoever to ever become a landlord again.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, I can
All right,
understand
that's cool.
because
That's cool, D. So I'm gonna cut it off here.
All right. Thank you for talking to me, and thank you for the advice. I appreciate it. And the chit
Thanks for
chat.
coming on board, Brandon. That was cool. Thank you, and thanks, D. And anybody else who checked in while I wasn't looking,
D.
thank you.
Yeah, D. Awesome. D, I'm still watching your video. I'm only halfway through still. Sorry.
So stay fresh and keep it moist and profitable out there.